Breaking news today as we come on the air on this Wednesday, the defense team for Christopher Taylor, the Austin police officer accused of shooting and killing Mike Ramos, filed a 319-page request to move his trial out of Travis County.
Now, you may remember back in May, a judge declared a mistrial in the case because of allegations of potential jury tampering and the inability to seat a jury.
Mike Ramos was shot and killed back in April of 2020 when police responded to a call in southeast Austin about an armed person doing drugs in a vehicle. When they arrived, they found Ramos and said he did not obey their commands.
Officers shot him with a beanbag round. Ramos then got into the car and started driving. Officer Taylor started shooting, killing Ramos.
KVUE senior reporter Tony Plahetsky joins us now here in the studio to break down the latest in this case. Tony.
Hey, Brian and Ashley, first of all, there is no timeline on when a judge could rule on this request to move the case out of Austin. These requests are not necessarily unusual, but Taylor's attorneys are bringing some well-known names from Austin's legal community to try to influence this decision. Among those who have signed affidavits saying they do not think Taylor will get a fair trial are former Travis DA Margaret Moore, former state district judge Charlie Baird, who also served on the state's highest criminal court, and defense attorneys Sam Bassett, Jerry Morris, Joe Turner, Joe James Sawyer, and Wayne Meisner, all of whom have tried high-profile cases here in Travis County over the past few decades. According to this motion, Taylor's attorneys argue that he could not get a fair trial in Austin because of extensive media coverage of the case. They also point out that in May, a judge did declare that mistrial because of the inability to seat a jury. Some jurors were dismissed after saying they could not be unbiased, and others were let go when it was discovered that the courtroom was illegally locked during jury selection. And Taylor's attorneys also cite what they call effort to intimidate prospective jurors by putting flyers on their cars that say Michael Brent Ramos murdered by Austin police. Taylor shot and killed Ramos in April 2020. As we told you, police were called to southeast Austin to an apartment complex to investigate possible drug dealing. They said Ramos did not comply with their request, and that's when they used that beanbag round on him. Ramos then got in a car and started driving, and that is when Officer Taylor opened fire. His attorneys have said he shot in defense of other officers in Ramos's path. The DA's office has asked a judge in this case to grant a gag order, and they say that because of that, they will have no comment on this request. Prosecutors likely will submit a formal response to the court and include their own affidavits from other members of the community. Now, if this change were to happen, that means this case could be heard by jurors in another county that likely would be more conservative than those here in Travis County.
So, Tony, how common is this?
So, Brian, the filing of a request like this is not altogether uncommon, but it is extremely rare for a venue request to actually be granted. The defense must show that Taylor could not get a fair trial here. We've talked to some Travis County courthouse veterans who say the last time they believe a local case moved jurisdictions was in the mid-1990s.
And Tony, what would happen if there is, in fact, a change of venue?
So Ashley, generally the case would be heard in a neighboring judicial district. But again, the big deal here would be the jury pool and the effort to find jurors who don't know much, if anything, about this case. But everything else, including the prosecutors, the defense attorney, and the judge, would all be the same, just hearing the case in a whole other city.
KVUE's Tony Plahetsky live here in the studio with us today. Thank you very much for the update, Tony.
You can find more information on this case and the backstory on our streaming platform, KVUE Plus.